Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope your day is going fantastic. Thanks for joining me. Well, today we're making a Halloween card and we're using a brand new arrival over at the Spellbinders shop from the Halloween and Fall 2020 collection. This set here, there's lots to this collection. I'm only using one item, but this here is called the Spooky Greetings Glimmer Plate Set. So we're going to be glimmering a Halloween card. And I have to tell you, I love this cute little set and the sentiments in there. Sentiments in here are baddie for you. Have a beautiful day, keep it real, booyah, and happy Halloween. Then you get the little ghost, the skeleton, and the little moon with the bats. We're going to use everything but the moon and the bats today, even all the sentiments. Kind of have an idea brewing, so bear with me. Okay, we brought in the glimmer machine. It's ready to go. So we're going to start off by foiling our little ghost. A while back in a Die of the Month Club, we got a ghost that was like this, a little bit on the larger side. It was a die, and I loved it. So I was super excited they came out with a glimmer one that was a little bit smaller. But I'm going to kind of evenly space all of my sentiments around here. Two of them we're going to kind of put together in a line and foil them on a piece of cardstock together. So we're going to have four basically on some cardstock and then our little ghost. We're going to use two different foils today. We have black and then we have this beautiful speckled prism. For the sentiments in the ghost, we're going to be trimming down some sheets of the black, which is kind of like a patent leather. Love this black foil. I have some strips we're going to just go ahead and add to our sentiments. And then I did trim down some 1-inch strips of some colored cardstock. I'm going to trim this down so it fits. I didn't want it overhanging there. And we'll do some foiling to here. The cardstock that I'm using is Summer Days. It's a bright yellow. And it's from, my cardstock that I usually use is from Fun Stamper's Journey. So that's what this is. And I'll link everything down below. But we're going to go ahead and cover each one of these sentiments. And we're going to use white cardstock for our little ghost. And then we're going to build our little sandwich here. It took a little time putting all the foil pieces in the cardstock, and by the time I got that done, my indicator light said it was ready to go. So we're going to run that through the Platinum 6 machine, and we're going to see how it foiled. Now, normally when you glimmer, you don't want excess foiling, like this little hot mess on the end. I would have to do a redo. But for what I'm going for today, that's a beautiful one. You kind of wanted a little more messy than that. You want excess foiling. This one, my sentiments were not lined up in a row, so we're going to redo that one. The one that says "Creep It Real" and "Booyah." This one, we're going to trim these down to the thinner strips, so I think I can get away with the baddie for you. But this is our little ghost, super shiny. Okay, like I said, excess foiling is good for the sentiments. I think it kind of goes with the little the theme that we're going to do. Okay, now we're going to foil our little skeleton. I have a whole bunch of strips of the speckled prism and then a piece of black licorice cardstock. We are going to foil kind of backwards in what we usually do because we're going to fill in the entire area of this panel here, which, by the way, measures 2 3/4 inches by 4 inches. So we're going to basically add our foil face up on that cardstock, our glimmer plate, which is our skeleton, face down, and then tack it down with low tack tape. And yes, we got a little excess foiling, which is pretty neat, so that's a good one. Okay, we're going to put our little sentiments plates aside, and then we're going to go ahead and foil our skeleton. We're going to flip it around and then put it on the base of our platform here. And then we're going to set that timer again. In the meantime, we're going to bring in 2 pieces of colored cardstock panels that measure 3 inches by 4 1/4. We're going to add a little foiling with some more glimmer plates here. Now this glimmer plate set is the Essential Glimmer Rectangles. I found one that was pretty close to the size of my panels, and I thought dotted detail would be perfect for each one of these panels. So we're just going to add our foil and then put our glimmer plate face down on top of it. And then we're going to tack it down so that one's ready to go. So basically what we're doing is doing all of our glimmering first. Our little skeleton is ready. And I put him in the corner of that black cardstock. We're going to see how he foiled. And he foils beautifully. There is excess foiling on his eyes and his mouth, but it will pick up with the regular eraser or a sand eraser very easily. But isn't that little skeleton cute? He's waving high like, hello. We're going to go ahead and do another foil with our skeleton. Actually, we're going to cover the entire background with our skeleton. While we position our skeleton, we're going to go ahead and foil our dotted detail on our Lavender Fusion cardstock. We'll add our little speckled prism down and put our little skeleton right on top. And this is where you want to position and where you want them to foil. And that's why we're kind of doing the opposite of what we normally do. But this foiled beautifully, lined up beautifully, which is super nice. And that again is Lavender Fusion cardstock. We're going to take our citrus cooler and we're going to foil that with dotted detail also. In the end, you don't see much of the dotted detail, but I like what you can see on our card today, so that's why I'm doing that. We're going to flip this around and foil another skeleton on this panel. And again, we're going to place a whole bunch of skeletons on that panel really wonky. So we're going to, I'm going to basically continue off camera until that panel is all filled with skeletons. Okay, and I also foiled my citrus cooler too. One of the skeletons you can see here didn't foil too well, but that's okay. I think we can get away with it. Now, next I have some strips of diagonal striped black and white paper. And I also trimmed down each one of my sentiment strips. Next, we're going to glue our sentiment to our diagonal stripe paper, just so a little bit is peeking out of the bottom. What we're doing is kind of creating some caution tape. If you want to put some stripes on the very top too, you could, but I think on the bottom gives me the same effect. I'm just adding glue and then adding each one of my sentiments here. That foiled beautifully, and then here is my scary foiling. But I never thought I would say that over foiling or scary foiling would work perfectly, but for your Halloween cards I think we could really get away with it. It's kind of fun. Okay, here's our panel. That one's the one that's kind of messed up, and I foiled all over. I love that prism foil. I think we can cover it up with the caution tape though. We're going to take our little ghost, and I am going to add a little shading to him, give him a little bit of depth. To do that, I'm going to be using my Color Splash watercolor pencils. I picked a gray here, and I'm adding color just to the left side, kind of shading my ghost a little bit. And then I'm going to take my water brush, and then we're going to just blend that out. That's the nice thing about your Color Splash pencils. If you go over your foiling, it doesn't dull it down, which is really nice. But I'm just kind of spreading out that shading so it looks like a shadow, and gray works perfect for that. Now, this little guy is wearing striped pants, striped breeches. We're going to add color to the breeches with my purple pencil here. I don't need to add water to that. I'm just coloring. That's the great thing about the Color Splash pencils is you can color with them. You don't have to add water if you don't want to. I'm going to use my scissors, and we're going to fussy cut this little guy out, leaving a little bit of a white border. And then when he's done, we're going to assemble our card. Everything's ready to go. I have my card base. We are going to add our first Lavender Fusion cardstock, and what we're doing with the orange and the purple cardstock is basically creating a crisscross. We're going to exit, so this is going to be tilted to the left, and then the orange one we're going to tilt to the right, kind of placing them wonky. Once these are placed and adhere directly to our card base, we're going to take our skeleton panel. This is going to go right in the center, straight up and down. So I'm just going to add a little adhesive and tack down our panel, making sure it's kind of centered. Okie dokie. Next, we're going to take each one of our sentiments, and I cut thin strips of foam adhesive, and we're going to add foam adhesive behind them. And then we're kind of going to position them all around the front of our card. Some of them are going to be overhanging, but no worries, we're going to cut off the excess. And then there's going to be some areas where we're going to want to tear the end off to give it more of a kind of a scary look. I don't know if tearing gives it a scary look, but it gives it a more Halloween-y look, I would say. Let's just tear that top piece off. Eventually, I guess. We're going to add a foam adhesive behind here and add this to the top corner. Here's where we're going to tear it off. I do want this last one, not this one here. I tore that corner off that I was talking about earlier. But this one, I needed a straight caution tape because we're going to put a ghost right on top. Now I thought I could cover my skeleton that didn't glimmer very well. I'm trying to cover it with the ghost, but the balance was off for me. I really wanted him to the left of my card base. But I think we can fix it with some rainbow drops. We'll see. Anything overhanging, I'm using my scissors to trim off. And I made sure I got the full sentiment on there. So we have our little caution tape going all over our panel. So fun. Now I'm going to take my rainbow drops here and we're going to use purple. There's 3 different sizes. I'm going to use all 3 sizes. The largest one I'm going to place the hand of the skeleton was the most unfoiled. So that's where we're going to put the rainbow drop. How about that? I'm going to add a few more down below here. And then that completes my card today, guys, using the Spooky Greetings Glimmer plate set. It's part of the Spellbinders Halloween and Fall collection. I encourage you guys to check it out. I'll list it down below if you want to see the entire collection. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you soon.